Welcome back. We are covering number 17 of 25 inspirational stories to encourage you in your business journey. I want to encourage you to keep fighting, fight off apathy and discouragement. It's tough. You're battling, but guess what? You're doing it. You've done more by starting and trying than most people ever will. Most people don't have the courage to jump in and throw their hat in the ring to try a business venture, and you're doing it, or you've tried it. And if you failed before in the process of failing, listen, it happens. You need to listen to all these stories and just the path in which a lot of these folks have taken to finally hit that success. Many people that have found great success have failed many times prior to. So the final chapter has not been written for you either. So again, don't lose heart. This does not define you. What defines you is whether you keep going or whether you give up. That's what defines you, right? That's what people are going to look at you and they're going to say, did he quit or did she quit or did he or she keep going or try again, right? Which is what we find with a lot of these folks. So a lot of people find, adversity, start out behind the eight ball in their life. George Washington Carver, you need to go listen to that video that I covered before as well. There's not many people that are going to start out like he did, right? And so again, keep up the good fight, right? Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and hit the alert button. Greatly appreciate it. It helps my algorithm out with YouTube, and like I said, I do really appreciate it. So, and I'm in this with you, right? I have currently 8 subscribers on Small Biz Shout Out. Up to though, I got 2 on this series. I got 2 new subscribers, so thank you to both of them. And then I have bumped up from 34 to 35 on my Free Advice from Your Uncle channel. So again, it's a slow process. I'm in it with you, but keep fighting. Today we're going to cover Vera Wang, right? So I'm not going to jump to her success right away, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her and her background, right? So she was born and raised in New York City on June 27th. She wasn't raised all together in June 27th, 1949, actually, but that's her birthday, right? So her parents were immigrants from China, and they migrated in 1940. Her mother worked as a translator for the UN, and her father owned a medicine company and graduated from a university in over in China, but also ultimately graduated from MIT. So her parents were, very well educated and obviously did the work and had success themselves as immigrants. So she herself, actually, I didn't know this, attended seminary, but ultimately graduated from Chapman School and then attended University of Paris and studied art history while she was there at the University of Paris. So I did not know that either, but it makes sense in terms of where her trajectory was. What is interesting about her is that she was an athlete and was actually featured in Sports Illustrated, and when they do the profiles of young up and coming athletes, and so she put in a lot of practice. And if you know anything about trying out for the Olympics in any sports or any discipline, it is life consuming, right? And so she had aspirations and she put in the practice to even get to the point of being able to try to go for the tryouts for the Olympic figure skating team, right? You can't just show up and walk in and say, hey, I'm going to try out for figure skating, right? It's not like an open call audition or anything like that, right? You've got to be in competition. A lot of times you have to be invited to even try out. In track and field, I ran a little bit of track and field in high school and college, and for you to even make the Olympic trials, you have to hit certain benchmarks that are pretty high. So, again, it's not like she just walked in off the street and decided, I want to be a figure skater and try out for the Olympics. She put in a lot of work, and that's where the failure came in, right? Again, we've all dealt with failure before, and sometimes what you're aspiring to doesn't lead you to where you're ultimately going to end up and find your success, right? So she wanted to be an Olympian, right? I'm sure she had great aspirations of what that all entailed, and you have pretty good financial standing after the Olympics if you win a medal of any sort by going on the figure skating tours and the shows that they have as well. So she didn't make the team though, unfortunately, and so but that really was what caused her to change directions and pivot. And so ultimately, she graduated from Sarah Lawrence College, and she ended up being hired at Vogue. And I think everybody who knows anything about fashion knows what Vogue magazine is and what that entails. And she was the youngest editor ever to be hired at the magazine at the time. And she worked there for 17 years, right? And that's to be the editor at Vogue and hold that position and be there for 17 years. That's huge in the fashion world, right? So she then went on to work for Ralph Lauren in 1987, who everybody knows who Ralph Lauren and Polo is, right? And so that's another big, huge brand. And she did that for 2 years, and then she quit. And she just didn't quit like right after high school. She was well into her career. That takes a lot of guts and courage. And again, in this past series also I covered, some folks who didn't find success. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he had his first franchise, right? His KFC franchise. Vera Wang, 40 when she decided to venture out and start her own bridal design company. And then so she started out and after at the age of 40 doing that and started designing for Olympic skaters. And then that ultimately spiraled into her finding her success for doing wedding gowns and red carpet gowns and dresses for the Hollywood elite. So again, it wasn't a straightforward path, but she hung in there. She fought it out, threw her hat in the ring at the age of 40 and found the success there. So again, I'm hoping that these stories inspire you and encourage you, even if you had failure or going through failure, not to give up. And that's the whole point of this series. So again, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. As I mentioned, click the subscribe button and click the alert button, and I'd appreciate it. And we will talk to you at the next video. Keep fighting. I want to encourage you to keep fighting. Do not give up. You can do this, right? The final story, a chapter has not been written in your story. All right, that's going to do it. We'll talk to you at the next video.